Tomorrow it's sold. Mom's beach house is gone, but what's revealed next is simply incredible. Sarah stood at the threshold of the ocean view, her heart racing as she stared at the fading light that danced over the waves. The lease had been signed and the countdown clock ticked. The house that held her mother's laughter, warmth, and dreams was slipping away. She pressed her fingers to her temples, trying to stave off a headache, a mix of nostalgia and estrangement gnawing at her. Memories of sun-drenched summers drowned in the weight of obligation. Jake arrived, his sharp footsteps on the wooden staircase echoing the tension in the air. It had been years since their shared moments had felt comfortable. "We need to hurry," he said curtly, his tone flat, devoid of any warmth. They had spent too many years locked in an unspoken battle, her commitment to caregiving opposed to his merciless climb up the ladders of success. They had both been molding the essence of who they were in different, conflicting ways. Today, faced with the prospect of losing their mother's haven, the echoes of arguments and discontent reverberated louder than the crashing waves. As they sifted through boxes of once treasured belongings, Sarah's hands trembled. Each object held a story, but also carried anger. She worked as a nurse, pouring her heart into every patient, like her mother had done with every stroke of her paintbrush. Jake's gaze flicked over everything quickly, as if fearing something of himself might be trapped within those memories. "Mom would have wanted us to sell it," he commented, his voice betraying the urgency of his business ambitions. But the deeper they dug, the more the ghosts of the past resurfaced. A dusty old chest, obscured by layers of dust, drew Sarah's attention. "Help me," she said, lifting the lid. Inside, the delicate scent of old paper and forgotten dreams greeted them. Her mother's letters, poetic, introspective reflections, spilled from the chest like secrets from another time. They were confessions of an artist, recounting the sting of societal expectations and a desire to break free. It was a revelation, a life rogue against the typical, much like Sarah wished to be now. "Look at this," Sarah whispered, her voice thick with emotion. She wanted to be so much more than what she was. Jake's expression shifted from skepticism to curiosity. "I never knew," he admitted, the words hanging heavy. The letter served as a mirror, reflecting back their mother's convictions that resonated with a depth neither had anticipated. Was success counted in dollars or in dreams? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. They shared an unresolved moment, each sibling held hostage by their choices. Sarah's nurturing heart clashing against Jake's insatiable hunger for recognition. As she clutched the letters to her chest, the weight of the world pressed down. The sale loomed overhead, a deadline that felt more like a guillotine than a fresh start. What if she let go, letting the tide sweep in the unknown? The knock on the door rumbled through the house, each sound ricocheting off the walls laden with familial tension and unsaid words. Sarah froze, eyes wide with fear, barely able to breathe, knowing that the choice they would make next might alter the course of everything. Jake opened his mouth to argue, to perhaps shield his own heart, but they stood on the precipice of letting their mother's legacy slip away. Would they choose to preserve what mattered most, or bid farewell to the last connection they had? Sarah's heart thudded in her chest as Jake moved towards the door, each step deliberately heavy, threatening to shatter the fragile calm. The knock was a portent, each rap a reminder of the swift tide that was drawing them away from their shared past. She could feel the vulnerability lingering in the air, almost palpable between them. "Who is it?" she managed to ask, her voice teetering on the edge of anxiety. Jake paused, his brow furrowing. She watched him hesitate, as if the figure behind the door held more than just his business deal. It represented the culmination of everything they had avoided confronting. "It's the real estate agent," he replied, a mixture of relief and dread flooding his tone. "We need to finalize our side today." The simplicity of his words slammed into her like a wave, and she felt her resolve begin to waver. It was no longer just about their mother's house. It was about their fractured relationship, about the childhood memories that had shaped them into these two very different adults. "Wait," Sarah interrupted, her mind racing. "What if we don't sell?" The words slipped out before she could drown them in practicality. Each syllable yielded a tiny thrill of defiance. What if we just take a moment to breathe before deciding? She could feel herself questioning not only the sale of the beach house, but everything they had allowed to define them, everything they had allowed to slip away. "Breathe? Sarah, this is our chance to move on. This house is a chain weighing us down." His words dripped with exasperation, and she recognized the truth buried within them, the fear of stagnation driving his urgency. Yet something in the depths of her mind insisted there was more to consider. "I know it's a chain, but it's also a part of who we are." Her voice trembled but carried a thread of determination. "Mom wanted us to chase our dreams, not bury them before they even blossom." At that moment, memories surged forth unpredictably, blurring her vision with tides of childhood laughter. She saw nights painted with stories, her mother's painted canvases swirling colors brighter than life itself. Could she turn her back on that legacy? Jake shifted, glancing back into the dim warmth of what had once been a sanctuary. "You're being emotional, Sarah. You can't let nostalgia blind you." The sharpness in his tone cut through her like ice, and she knew she had to stand firm for both their sakes. "Maybe I need to be emotional," she countered, the words building momentum. "For as long as I can remember, I've chosen logic and duty over what fuels me, over who I want to be. If we sell, I'm afraid we'll skip this chapter of our lives, bury our mother's spirit, and run straight into the arms of a future we might regret." The air thickened with tension, their breaths mingling in the silence that followed as they exchanged glances. An unspoken acknowledgement flickered between them. The struggle within was not simply about a house. It was about dreams deferred, about the divergence of paths that had created a rift. "What if," Jake began slowly, "we took some time, just a few months? Maybe we could both figure out what we really want." The vulnerability in his voice caught her off guard, revealing just a sliver of the brother she used to know, just beneath the polished veneer of ambition. Her heart raced with hope and fear, an unexpected harmony sparking in her chest. Could they venture together into the unknown? "All right," she agreed, her resolve crystallizing. "Let's take a pause, but we need to set boundaries." As they formed this shaky pact, a renewed sense of determination ignited within her. She was ready to redefine her path, to reconcile who she had been with who she aspired to become. Tomorrow, whether the house was sold or saved, would mark a turning point. But what if this journey of understanding didn't just hinge on their mother's legacy, but on the revelations of their own abilities and aspirations? The knock on the door sounded again, shaking her out of her reverie. Whatever lay ahead felt infinitely more significant than selling a house. Together, they would navigate a daunting chapter of personal growth, clashing values, and uncharted territories within themselves. As they moved toward the door, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, what hidden treasures lay waiting for them beyond that threshold? As Jake opened the door, Sarah felt a wave of anticipation wash over her, mingled with the chill of uncertainty. The real estate agent, impeccably dressed and wielding a clipboard as if it were a shield, strode inside with an air of confidence that only amplified Sarah's inner tumult. She had agreed to delay their decision, but the presence of the agent drew forth a stark reminder of what they were avoiding. "Good morning, you two." I hope you're ready to finalize some details because I have bidders lining up for this place, she chirped, her enthusiasm contrasting painfully with the weight of the moment. Sarah felt her stomach twist as she recalled the laughter that had echoed through the house. It was as if those memories were trapped within the walls, begging for acknowledgement. Actually, Jake interjected, a newfound resolve in his voice, we're going to take some time before making a final decision about selling. The real estate agent's demeanor shifted slightly, her brows knitting together in confusion, but she quickly masked it. That's certainly your call, but I should warn you, selling in this market could set you up nicely for your future endeavors. Sarah's gaze met Jake's, a silent communication passing between them. His eyes revealed a mix of frustration and uncertainty. It was clear the weight of the decision was not just a financial one. It frothed with emotions neither had expected to grapple with. Right, Jake said, visibly grounding himself. But this house represents more than just an asset. We need to reassess what it means for us. The agent shifted her attention back to her clipboard, jotting down notes, and Sarah sensed an opportunity to fortify her stance. Could we schedule to look at the property again, just to walk through it one last time? I think it might help us gain clarity on our feelings. The agent nodded, albeit reluctantly. Sure, I can arrange that, but time is of the essence here. My advice? Think long and hard about what you want. As the agent left, Sarah turned to Jake. That's the beginning, isn't it? We can reclaim what we want from this place. It was the first time she saw a flicker of possibility graze his expression. Maybe, he mused, uncertainty still etched across his features. But beneath it, Sarah detected a yearning, a desire to unearth something long buried. Determined to embark on this unexpected journey together, they decided to walk through the house. Each step felt like a rediscovery. Sarah's fingers brushed against the faded wallpaper, its texture a familiar comfort. Memories flooded back, the countless family dinners, the summer evenings cluttered with laughter, the scent of her mother's cooking infused into the very fabric of the walls. "Do you remember the treehouse?" she asked, her voice trembling with nostalgia. Jake blinked, as if shaking off the present, his gaze turning distant. "Yeah," he replied slowly, "we thought it was our fortress." As they traversed the familiar territory, they began peeling back layers of their shared past. Each room revealed glimpses of their childhood, long-denied sentiments bubbling to the surface. The conversations took on new weight. The verbal fencing softened into dialogues of understanding. "I've always felt that I had to live up to this perfect image of who I should be," Jake admitted, echoing the vulnerability Sarah had seen flicker across his face earlier. "I didn't know how to be more than just the high achiever. And I've been so focused on maintaining control, on being responsible, that I forgot how to dream for myself," Sarah confessed. The revelations felt liberating, a weight lifting off her shoulders. As they restrung their connection to one another, the realization dawned. Perhaps this journey wasn't merely about the house, but about rediscovering their individual identities away from expectations. What they uncovered that day instilled a desire to rekindle their childhood passions. Each memory inspired them to draft new plans. Fresh aspirations swelled within them, like beacons of hope rather than shackles of obligation. What had seemed like an anchor became a launchpad toward their true selves. But as they resumed their conversation, a faint tension began to ripple through Sarah. Was this newfound journey strong enough to traverse the bigger obstacles each faced in their actual lives? "Jake," she started, hesitating, what if letting go of this house is allowing us to let go of our childhood altogether? It feels both liberating and terrifying." He met her gaze, a mixture of warmth and uncertainty reflected in his expression. "Then we have to find a way to carry our childhood with us without being chained to it," he said firmly. Sarah nodded slowly, realizations settling within her like seeds in fertile soil. This journey of growth was only beginning. How far could they stretch beyond the walls of their past? Together, they had to unfurl these hidden dimensions of themselves.
As they ventured further into the house, the lingering question echoed in her mind. Was it time to confront the fears that lay hidden within? Would they be prepared for whatever revelations awaited them? As Sarah and Jake moved deeper into the house, the air grew thick with unspoken emotions. Each room held a key to their past, yet the walls felt like a ticking clock, pushing them toward an imminent decision. A stark contrast bubbled beneath the surface, a mixture of nostalgia and dread. Sarah's heart raced, booming against the backdrop of her thoughts. She paused by the staircase, her fingers grazing the wooden banister. What if we don't just step into our memories, but instead create new ones? What does that even mean for us? The question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of their uncertain futures. Jake leaned against the wall, his brow furrowing as he absorbed her words. Creating new memories, he echoed, as if tasting the concept. A part of me feels like we're supposed to say goodbye to all of this. But what if saying goodbye is about transforming these memories, not erasing them? The clarity of Jake's insight ignited something within Sarah. She saw a flicker of strength, a desire to mold their past into a stepping stone, not an obstacle. What if we transformed this place into something that fuels us? Not just a distant memory, but a source of inspiration. I don't even know where to start, he admitted, rubbing the back of his neck, a habit Sarah recognized.
Of his growing anxiety. Maybe by tackling one area at a time? What was our favorite memory here? She offered, emboldened by her own realization. The garden, Jake said after a pause, the memory breaking through. Summer evenings with the fireflies, discussing dreams, making plans. Sarah could sense the warmth of that memory, a cocoon of shared aspirations and laughter. Let's start there. They made their way outside, stepping into the overgrown patch of paradise that once blossomed with color. In the backyard, weeds sprawled like uninvited guests. Yet amidst the chaos, Sarah noticed wildflowers fighting to peek through. The tenacity of those flowers struck her profoundly. It's like they refuse to die out, no matter how much they're neglected, she said, kneeling down to pull a few weeds. Jake joined her, examining the blooms more closely. They represent something, don't they? Maybe we're like these flowers. We can survive this chaotic mess and thrive, just like they do. A hint of hope threaded his voice, and Sarah felt a warmth spread through her chest. Inspired, they knelt together, pulling weeds, tending to the earth where dreams had once rooted. As they worked, their laughter echoed around them. Each tug and tear felt cathartic, shedding layers of their past alongside the weeds. It was through this labor that they slowly began to reclaim their narratives. Maybe we should plant something new, Sarah suggested, her brow furrowing in contemplation. Something that symbolizes growth and transformation. Are you thinking fruit trees? Jake shot her a playful glance, but she could see he was processing the deeper meaning behind her suggestion. Or blooming flowers that attract butterflies, something vibrant and alive. We could come back here and see how they've grown, just as we will. A resolute determination filled her voice. As they shifted their focus to envisioning a new garden, it dawned on Sarah that their childhood home was not merely a collection of walls. It was a canvas for their future. Their thoughts veered toward possibility, constructing blueprints for all that could come to be. But in the midst of planting seeds of hope, an unsettling thought clawed at Sarah's mind. What if their plans were just illusions, fantasies built on the ethereal dreams of a childhood long lost? The ambivalence of nostalgia intruded on her focus. Would they be strong enough to cultivate this plot of land without the weight of doubt? Jake, she said hesitantly, what if our past is more of a roadblock than a launch pad? What if we're just scared to let go? His hand stilled, eyes narrowing as he contemplated her question. The tension between them mounted, their very essence hung in the balance. Would they allow their fears to eclipse their ambitions? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting shadows that danced awkwardly around them. The flickers of light mirrored their internal struggles, a desire for growth overshadowed by the fear of stagnation. Determined to chase away the dark, Sarah resolved to confront the fear. Let's promise to meet again here in a week. not just to reminisce, but to discuss how we can truly plant our dreams into this soil. We need to make a real plan. Are we ready for that? Jake asked, his apprehension unmistakable. But in his voice, Sarah detected a note of acceptance. Perhaps the time for real growth had finally arrived. As they gathered their tools to leave, the air shifted. Their pact was unspoken yet powerful. They stood at the precipice of transformation, a doorway opening to the unknown. Would they find the strength to embrace their truth, or would the past lock them in an inescapable embrace? The garden awaited, its seeds a metaphor for their burgeoning potential. The week trudged on, filled with the mundane rush of daily life. Sarah tried to distract herself with work, but her mind danced between the bittersweet memories of the past and the potential of the garden. Each moment was a tug-of-war between longing and the urge to break free. Her colleagues noticed the distraction, exchanging glances over coffee breaks as Sarah's mind drifted into her own world. When the day finally arrived, she felt a knot of anticipation twisting in her stomach. The sun was just beginning to set when she arrived at the beach house, its familiar outline casting long, nostalgic shadows on the ground. Jake was already there, his hands tucked into his pockets as he stared at the garden they had begun to revive. "You made it," he said, his voice carrying a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Of course," Sarah replied, forcing a smile as she stepped into the garden. It was still a mess, but somehow felt lighter. They had begun the journey of transforming this space, played with the idea of growth together, but now the reality of it was dawning. "Right, so we talked about planting something new, but what about clearing out more old stuff?" Jake asked, eyeing the wildflowers that were beginning to congest the space. "Shouldn't we start by making room for growth?" She looked at the flowers, torn between admiration for their resilience and the need for a clean slate. "You're right," she admitted, "but it feels like I don't want to uproot what has been here before." Jake nodded, considering her deeply. "But what if holding on to everything is what's keeping us trapped? There's a line between honoring memories and letting them define us." His honesty skirted the edges of vulnerability. She saw the challenge flitting across his features, urging her to see it too. For a moment, their gaze met, and Sarah felt the weight of his words settle deep within her. Memories often felt tangible, like ornate frames around fading pictures. Yet here, among the weeds, she began to question if they were grounds for growth or stagnation. "Let's do it together then," Sarah proposed, driven by an unexpected surge of courage. "We'll go through the garden and decide what stays and what goes, not just the flowers, our thoughts too. We have to clear out the weeds in our minds." With renewed vigor, they moved through the garden, uprooting weeds and removing dead branches, while sharing stories about their childhood favorites. Each removed sprout talked back. It reminded Sarah of past dreams, of love interests, and the endless possibilities that once hummed in her youth. Yet, as she worked, she recognized the inefficacy of clinging to what no longer served them. "Planting new things means having faith in the future," Jake remarked as he dug into the earth. "Do you think we're ready to do that?" His question hovered heavily in the air. Sarah could feel the weight of self-doubt creeping in again like a familiar shadow. "What if we fail? What if failure means we try again?" Jake interjected, cutting off the growing storm of her fears. "Every time we plant a seed, we're also planting hope." Hope. It felt like both an anchor and a challenge. Encouraged, she straightened and resolved to embrace the uncertainty. "You're right. Let's choose what we want to remember and what to let go." With hands in the soil, they worked tirelessly. The rhythm of their pulling, digging, and planting became a mantra of healing. Each time they uprooted a weed or planted a seed, it felt like shedding an old skin or embracing a newer, bolder version of themselves. As dusk approached, their patch of land became a metaphor of regeneration, a mosaic of vibrant possibilities. They stepped back, breathing heavily, yet filled with an exhilarating sense of accomplishment. "This place, it feels different now," Sarah whispered, the weight of nostalgia replaced with newfound strength. "Yeah," Jake replied, a smile breaking through his earlier apprehension. "We're making it ours."
But deep down, Sarah knew there was still an underlying uncertainty lurking beneath the surface of this apparent success. The future was still uncharted and unpredictable, leaving her with an unsettling question. Would they have the resilience to nurture what they had planted, now that the initial excitement of this transformation was wearing off? As they gathered their tools, she glanced once more at the garden. Its soil recently turned, teeming with the promise of tomorrow. More than just a garden, it was a testament to their resolve. Would they find the way to keep growing through the messiness ahead, or would doubt once again entangle them again? Determined but still shaken, they left the garden that day, each step forward tinged with buoyancy and trepidation. The weight of their past loomed large, but so too did the potential brewing within them. What awaited them on this path of renewal? A chance for liberation, or another cycle of entrapment? Only the future could tell. Would they embrace it for all its uncertainty, or would each shadow of doubt drag them back to where they began? Days blended into weeks, and Sarah found herself adrift in a sea of change. Workload increased, yet her focus remained divided. Each meeting became an exercise in maintaining a facade, while
the garden's tender sprouts echoed in the back of her mind. The transformation they initiated continued, but doubt's persistent whisper began to seep into her thoughts. Was it enough? Was she enough? One afternoon, Sarah overheard a couple of colleagues discussing a potential promotion, the buzz of ambition palpable. They spoke of bold ideas and risk-taking. A steadfast knot tightened in her stomach. She had been long overdue for a professional leap, yet she had been hesitant, spilling doubts into her mind as easily as she once uprooted weeds in the garden. Did she even want the new position, or was she merely afraid of what remained in her comfort zone? That night, while lying awake in her old bedroom, shadows danced across the walls. They were faded memories from the past, an echo of missed opportunities. The garden was no longer the only plot in her life requiring cultivation. She needed to confront the weeds in her own aspirations. She thought of what Jake had said about faith in the future. Who was she becoming if she let self-doubt continue to dictate her choices? Determined to reclaim her narrative, Sarah made a list the next morning. Each item grew bolder. Take that class she had pushed aside, ask her supervisor about opportunities, even consider relocating if need be. With each bullet point, she felt the weight lifting off her shoulders. Action was becoming her anchor in the murky waters she had allowed doubt to create. Fueled by an intoxicating blend of nerves and excitement, she approached her supervisor, initiating a conversation she had rehearsed in her mind 1,000 times. Surprisingly, her words flowed more smoothly than she expected. She expressed her interest in more challenging projects, showcasing her newfound resolve. Her supervisor smiled, an encouraging gesture to push Sarah to speak more. What began as a tremulous exchange morphed into a confident discussion on potential. But with ambition came fear, a familiar companion. Moments later, while standing at the door of the break room, a quick exchange with another colleague sparked fleeting self-doubt. "Are you sure you want to take that risk?" they murmured, concern clouding their tone. The shadows returned briefly, slithering back into her consciousness. "Maybe," Sarah said hesitantly, but the words tasted stale on her tongue. Could she still be brave? With determination, she shook off the doubt and reminded herself of the garden. Every seed planted required sunlight, nutrients, and the belief it would flourish. Returning home that evening, she found Jake kneeling in the garden, working diligently at planting a new row of vegetables. He paused, looking up at her with an understanding smile. "You seem different today," he remarked, breaking into her contemplative thoughts. A spark ignited. "I took a step forward," she responded, her voice steadier than she actually felt. "I'm finally reaching for what I want." Sarah hesitated, ready to share her broader ambitions, but found herself stalling. Would he scoff at her dreams, mock her ambitions? Another wave of nerves hit. Her, but Jake leaned closer, eyes alight with encouragement. "That's great, Sarah. You deserve it." Empowered by his validation, her worry slightly lessened. Yet as they worked side by side, a creeping thought nagged at her. What if the risks she was contemplating didn't pay off?
As the sun slipped below the horizon, she caught herself glancing at the vibrant blooms they had begun to cultivate. Focusing on the growth around her, she realized she needed that same patience with herself. Just as the garden's new life flourished after care, maybe her ambitions required nurturing too. It wasn't enough to simply plant seeds of opportunity. She had to engage with them, share them, and ultimately believe in their potential. As the stars began to dot the twilight sky, Sarah resolved to confront the fears that still lingered. She would reach out to the colleagues she admired, explore her avenues for growth, and embrace every moment of risk. But just as she was gaining momentum, a new text from her mother disrupted her thoughts. The beach house was officially sold, and lingering memories flashed before her eyes. Could she really let go of her past while chasing the future? With a lump in her throat, she fought against the tide of nostalgia threatening to pull her back under. Would she be able to navigate this emotional storm while still grasping for her dreams? The weight of her decision loomed large and undeniable, leaving her anxiously pondering the true cost of moving forward. The morning sun broke through a thin layer of clouds, illuminating Sarah's room like a spotlight. Yet she felt far from radiant. The bittersweet news of the beach house sale hovered over her like a dense fog. It wasn't just the memories she was saying goodbye to, it was the comfort of what was familiar, and that unnerved her more than she wanted to admit. She rose slowly, her feet connecting with the cool floor, as she wrestled with the decision weighing on her heart. It felt like a divide. One path led back to memories and the calm of routine. The other signaled a leap into the unknown, where her ambitions resided, but so did her fears. She had vowed to take active steps towards her aspirations, yet the thought of truly embracing change gnawed at her. When she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the mirror, it wasn't just her image staring back at her. It was the potential she had been too fearful to tap into. Who had she become, aligning herself with doubt rather than action? Fueled by a sudden rush of determination, she reached for her notebook. The ink of the unfinished list glared at her, each point a reminder that she was stalling. First on the list, reach out to her colleagues, the ones whose career paths inspired her. She realized they weren't merely people she respected, they could become mentors. She needed guidance to traverse the uncertain terrain ahead. Sarah opened her laptop and began drafting messages. Each one was a mini exploration of her ambition, an articulation of her desire to learn more about their journeys. At that moment, the knife edge of vulnerability sliced through her. What if they didn't respond? Or worse, what if they dismissed her inquiries as naive? That familiar self-doubt clawed its way back to the forefront of her mind. But as she typed, she could see her garden in her mind's eye. With each seed she had planted, she had felt the fear of failure, but she had also nurtured the promise of growth. She was a gardener not only of her flowers, but also of her own future. With the messages sent, Sarah felt a flicker of hope. Yet in the very next heartbeat, uncertainty reemerged. The very notion that she might not be taken seriously because of her hesitation left an unsettling taste in her mouth. She snapped her laptop shut and stood, pacing the room while focusing on the sound of her feet against the floor. Plans began to formulate. She could prepare herself for opportunities, learning more about her field. She picked up her phone, scrolling diligently through online courses. Then she recalled a conference coming up in a few months, where industry leaders would speak about innovations in her field. It would be a fantastic platform for connections, but her heart raced. Mingling with industry veterans who seemed so far ahead of her felt nerve-wracking. Yet, wouldn't the experience be useful? Each avenue of growth promised potential, but they also loomed as possible pitfalls. What if she stumbled while trying to find her footing? Jake's laughter echoed from the garden, and she couldn't help but smile. He had cultivated his expertise with no hesitation, adapting as the seasons changed, just as she wanted to do. With the scent of fresh soil and blooming flowers drifting through her window, Sarah resolved to attend the conference, no matter the anxiety in her stomach. She'd face it all: new connections, industry dialogues, and even her fear of failure. Later that evening, as she shared her plans with Jake, his eyes lit up with encouragement. "That's a bold move, Sarah. It's about time you stepped into the spotlight." Reassured by his support, she felt momentum building. Yet, as the day wore on, tighter knots of anxiety unwound in her gut. What if going to the conference stirred up self-doubt anew, robbing her of the confidence she'd been building? As she walked through the garden that night, watching the plants sway gently in the breeze, she focused on their resilience. Each flower held the promise of beauty simply because they were brave enough to bloom. But just as her thoughts began to settle, another text from her mother punctured her calm. "Let's talk about the beach house one last time." Was this a final push into nostalgia or an unexpected opening for closure? The path to the future seemed clouded once again. As delightful,
Possibilities wrestled with the shadows of her past. Which would ultimately matter more, the ties that held her to a place she once knew, or the potential for growth waiting just beyond the horizon? The next morning, the sun was again bright and unrelenting, yet Sarah found herself entangled in the shadows of yesterday's text. Her heartbeat mirrored the rhythmic sound of her feet on the floor, a steady reminder that today demanded her attention, not her fears. She had made strides by reaching out to her colleagues, but now the specter of her past threatened to distract her from the growth she was cultivating. After a quick breakfast, the lingering heaviness of nostalgia clung to her like an unshakable weight. The beach house represented so much: family gatherings filled with laughter, moments of solace embraced on lazy afternoons. But now, those memories felt like chains, binding her to a version of herself that was hesitant and fearful. The impending conversation with her mother felt critical, yet paralyzing. Would it spiral her further into doubt or serve as a definitive closure? She opened her notebook and stared at her list, now embellished with new ambitions, but still nearly untouched. The conference loomed just a few weeks away. She forced her mind away from past comfort and challenged herself to focus on preparations. With the determination that bubbled up within, she scoured online course reviews, choosing modules that would bolster her skills: strategies for networking, public speaking workshops, and insights into industry trends. Digging into learning was invigorating, and she felt the weight of her anxiety begin to lift. Each click felt like an inch forward, a commitment to stepping outside her old comfort zone. But just as the excitement began to buzz, her phone buzzed. A new message from one of her colleagues, an expert she respected. "Sure, let's chat next week. I'd love to help you navigate your career path." A rush of adrenaline coursed through her. The response, kind and encouraging, fed her growing determination. She quickly replied, confirming a time to meet. This connection was a lifeline, evidence that she wasn't alone in her endeavors. As she structured her thoughts for the upcoming meeting and the looming conference, she encountered a gnawing sense of dread each time she pictured herself amidst seasoned professionals. What if they could see through her facade of confidence? What if she wasn't seasoned enough to engage them in meaningful dialogue? Yet she knew to advance in her career, she had to confront that unease. Instead of shrinking back, she acknowledged the fear within. It was valid, but not insurmountable. Reflecting on her garden, she realized that growth required pushing through darkness. Those vibrant blooms outside were once mere seeds, unsure of their potential. Just as she had nurtured them, now she had to nurture herself. With newfound clarity between anxiety and ambition, Sarah took a deep breath, allowing herself to experience the moment. She distanced herself from the shackling memories of the beach house, viewing them
not as anchors, but as stepping stones. They were part of her journey, but they weren't her identity. Acceptance dawned. The house might be sold, but she was far from lost. Later that evening, she called her mother. The conversation was tentative. She listened to her mother reminisce about the beach house while gently interjecting her desire for closure, for transition. Surprisingly, her mother's initial hesitation gradually softened into understanding, recognizing that selling the house wasn't just a deed, it was an emotional release for both of them. As the dialogue progressed, Sarah felt a surge of empowerment. The belief that she was reclaiming her narrative, that the future could be woven with intentions and actions reputable to her persistence, replaced the tightness in her chest with a curious thrill. Yet, just as she was about to fully embrace this transformation, her mother's voice trembled over the line. "I have something to share about the beach house, and I think you should hear it." The moment hung heavily in the air. What revelation could possibly tie her to the past, yet unlock new chapters in her life? As unease crept back in, uncertainty loomed, testing the resolve she had fought so hard to build. What would this new twist reveal about her past, and how would it shape her path forward? Would she stand firm, or unravel at yet another tether to the life she had known? The foundation she was building could tremble again underfoot if she wasn't careful. The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken words. Sarah's heart raced as she waited for her mother to continue. A wealth of emotions bubbled within her: curiosity, fear, and an unshakable yearning for resolution. This wasn't just about the beach house anymore. It was about her identity, her future, and how the fragments of her past might guide or thwart her path. "Sarah," her mother began, her voice steady yet soft, "there's something I haven't told you about the house, something I found recently." Pause. Time hung as Sarah's mind raced. Was it something about the legacy of the property, memories, or something more profound? "I discovered some old paperwork," her mother continued, "documents that belonged to your grandfather." The mention of her grandfather sent a jolt through Sarah, memories swirling, his kindness, his stories. He was a man of vision, a trailblazer in his way. She had always admired him. "What kind of paperwork?" Sarah asked, sensing the change in atmosphere. This might be a crucial moment, one that could redefine her understanding of family and lineage. "Plans, visions he had for the beach house," her mother said, her voice trembling slightly. "But not just the house itself. He intended it to be a retreat for those who needed healing, a space for gatherings, and a hub of creativity. It wasn't just an escape, it was meant to serve a purpose beyond our family." As her mother spoke, Sarah's breath caught. A rush of emotions hit her, eliciting a blend of nostalgia and anticipation. Here was a vision far greater than the confines of her childhood memories. What if these unfulfilled dreams could ignite something within her? What if this knowledge could empower her to step into her own narrative instead of merely echoing her past? "I think we should honor his wish," her mother said, her resolve sharpening. "Selling the house doesn't mean losing it. It means releasing its energy into the world, allowing it to transform and inspire others." Sarah inhaled sharply. The walls that had felt so constricting now appeared to breathe with new life. Her grandfather's aspirations weren't just relics. They were a trail she could follow, a map leading her to a part of herself she had yet to discover. This was not merely a legacy. It was a challenge to create and innovate in her own way. Yet uncertainty loomed. Did she have the strength to pursue such a monumental task? Opening a retreat, pursuing her grandfather's vision, seemed daunting, almost impossible. She envisioned the thick walls of bureaucracy, the logistical maze of organizing and funding such an endeavor. But there was also an undeniable spark of excitement, the potential for growth that had begun to infuse every inch of her perspective. "I'll think about it, Mom," Sarah replied, her heart swelling with new prospects. The conversation had shifted into a realm of revelation, and with it came an awareness of responsibility. There was power in embracing the past while forging ahead. As they wrapped up the call, Sarah felt an urgency to act, to explore this newfound purpose. Her vision was expanding, and she began to mentally list the steps she needed to take. Research possibilities, connect with people, gather resources. This wasn't just about coping anymore. It was about becoming someone entirely new, stepping into her destiny with confidence. The next several weeks would test her resolve.
With the conference approaching, Sarah would need to harness this momentum, find ways to meld her history and ambition into actionable goals. One foot in the past, one stepping firmly into the future. Just as she began to feel a weight lift, a moment of deep reflection paused her thoughts. What would happen if everything unraveled? If the vision felt too large, too unattainable? Amidst her brainstorming, a text came through from her colleague. "I'd love to meet up earlier. Let's discuss how you can leverage this conference for your planning." Her heart raced again, but this time it was mixed with resolve. This might be the conversation that sets the course for everything she envisioned. The conversation that could ignite her professional journey in ways she previously thought were just dreams. But as she replied, excited yet nervous, another text chimed in. "By the way, I was told you might appreciate some more insights into the event speakers. Are you ready for a surprise?" What could that surprise reveal? Would it add another layer of complexity to her emerging dream, or provide the key she needed to unlock this new dream?
Endeavor? Sarah felt the familiar swell of anxiety rise, but with it came a sense of determination. She would confront whatever revelation awaited her. Whatever it was, it could not deter her from the path she was crafting. Today, she would take another step closer. In that moment, the horizon gleamed before her, pulsing with promise, but cloaked in uncertainty. Would she be able to harness this energy into a powerful leap forward? Or would the pressure of expectation become too much in the final moments? The answers loomed, as did the decision that awaited her. As the date of the conference approached, anticipation mounted within Sarah. The excitement mingled with anxiety as she grappled with the new task ahead of her, transforming her grandfather's vision into something tangible. Each day, she honed her plans, allowing herself to imagine the potential impact of the retreat. In preparation for the conference, she committed to every workshop, carefully crafting her approach to networking and engaging with industry leaders. The scattered seeds of her ambitions began to take root, germinating the courage she needed to embody her dreams. Upon arriving at the conference, the weight of self-doubt threatened to tether her, but she brushed it off. With a focused mentality, she entered the hall, greeted by an electric atmosphere of innovation. It was a vibrant hub, buzzing with like-minded individuals, all striving to make strides in their fields. An invigorating realization washed over her. She belonged here. She stepped into her first networking session with a determination to achieve, not just for herself, but also as a tribute to her grandfather. Each conversation sparked inspiration, igniting her passion to create a nurturing space in the retreat her family had once cherished. Inspired by the speaker sessions, she jotted down notes and connected with individuals whose expertise could help turn her vision into a reality. "Are you serious about this retreat?" a fellow attendee asked during a breakout session. The question was direct, yet laced with intrigue. Sarah held her breath for a moment before crafting her response. "Absolutely. This retreat won't just honor my grandfather's dreams, it will serve as a sanctuary for souls needing rejuvenation." The sincerity behind her words ignited a spark amongst those she spoke to. One person even offered to introduce her to a group of investors interested in community-driven projects. This breaking point solidified Sarah's courage, affirming her direction and the burgeoning potential within her idea. As the final day of the conference loomed, Sarah found herself reflecting. The journey from the beach house to this moment was peppered with trepidation, yet it was undeniably meaningful. Each reassuring conversation was a step towards solidifying her vision of the retreat, an intersection of support, creativity, and healing. An ethos that mingled her past experiences with the progress she was determined to create. Back at her garden, the blooms transformed through their nurturing efforts, mirroring her personal growth. Every step they had taken together served as a testament to their resilience, as Jake continued to assist her with the planning. It was as if they were cultivating two gardens in parallel, the one growing in the backyard and the other blossoming in their hearts. "Can you believe how far we've come?" Jake mused one afternoon, irritation over the weeds that attempted to reclaim the space drifting away as he spoke. "You're about to launch something incredible." Her gaze shifted to where the flowers danced in the breeze, and she couldn't conceal the smile on her lips. It feels surreal, but it's time to make this dream leap real. In the following weeks, as plans for the retreat solidified and her connections blossomed into opportunities, she felt a new kind of confidence enveloping her. Sarah no longer just wanted to uphold the legacy of her family. She was creating a new facet of that legacy, one that would give birth to a haven, just as her grandfather envisioned. And she wasn't alone. She had Jake. Together, they walked through the garden daily, nurturing their growing connection while planting ideas about how to make her retreat a magical space of healing. With each seed, both metaphorical and literal, she learned to trust their journey and her own capacity for growth. As she stood before a community board meeting a month later, outlining her vision, the culmination of her hard work and transformative experience radiated from her with palpable energy. And when someone stood up to applaud, saying, "This is exactly what we need," a tide of pride washed over her. Sarah not only championed her grandfather's legacy, she redefined and revitalized it, integrating it into an unprecedented venture. She felt alive, grounded, competent, a direct result of facing her fears and embracing the uncertainty of her journey. In that moment of recognition and affirmation, it occurred to her just how far she had come. No longer the hesitant girl awaiting validation, she stood as a confident architect of her future, a testament to resilience intertwined with growth. And as she looked around at those enthusiastic faces, she realized she was no longer bound by the memories of the beach house. She had forged a new path reflecting a legacy of intention, purpose, and empowerment. Their shared transformative journey was just beginning. The retreat would open its doors soon, welcoming souls in need. The universe suddenly felt limitless, unfurling before her like the petals of a newly bloomed flower. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and theories about this empowering conclusion. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who should see this transformation. Don't wait even one more second to show your support for stories of personal overcoming. Their shared transformative journey was just beginning. The retreat would open its doors soon, welcoming souls in need. The universe suddenly felt limitless, unfurling before her like the petals of a newly bloomed flower. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and theories about this empowering conclusion. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who should see this transformation. Don't wait even one more second to show your support for stories of personal overcoming.